the 3 pillars of healthy boundaries and how to implement them with ease. Okay, so let's dive right on in. In case you don't know me yet, I'm Arrettres Hollins, the founder of Connecting Love and Marriage. I'm super duper excited and passionate about helping women heal, helping women create boundaries, helping women get the clarity that they need, helping women to boost their confidence. That's my thing. It fills me with joy to be able to help a woman experience life the way that God has experienced, that God has ordained for her to experience, regardless of what she's going through in life. Things happen, unfortunately, that will sometimes dampen how we feel, how we experience life. But what we're not going to do is let that limit us. Okay, we are not going to allow the enemy to now interrupt the joy, the peace, the love, and the happiness that we have. So we're going over the 3 pillars of healthy boundaries. Hey, Miss Sophia, thank you so much for joining us. Okay, so 3 pillars of healthy boundaries and how to implement them with ease. So what we start with is you must identify what your expectations are, what makes you feel safe. In order for I can't make boundaries for your marriage. You can't make boundaries for my marriage. No one else should be able to put their input into what you feel are boundaries for your marriage, because my life experience is not the same as yours. So the first thing you need to do is identify what is it that's going to make me feel safe in my marriage. Now, of course, there are basic theories and ideas or concepts surrounding infidelity and typical boundaries that we should have. For example, one boundary can be you not in them streets with other women. That's a good boundary to me. You're not entertaining other women through text. You're not, sliding into them DMs every time you see a big booty chick on Instagram. Okay. Those are general boundaries, So so you have your general ones. Every single marriage needs to have these boundaries. You're not inviting other women out to dinner. You're not spending money on other women. You're not giving other women money. Those are all general boundaries that every single marriage needs to follow. Now, of course, you have the you choose, because I did jump into what your expectations are based on where you are, or based on your power and your confidence in speaking up for yourself. You get to decide if you want to start with the general boundaries that all marriages need, or if you start with your own. I encourage women to start with your own, because first, I want you to feel comfortable in knowing who you are and what makes you feel safe. And I dive deeper into this in my group coaching program, Restored and Confident Society, identifying what makes me feel safe, what makes me feel secure. Because one of the things with me, for example, what makes me feel safe might not be the same thing that makes you feel safe. Like, my husband is a social butterfly and he's always talking to people, male and female. And I don't worry about him, if he's standing there talking to a woman. Now, of course, I'm always watching women, like, what's going on there. But there is but for you, if your current husband has issues with speaking to women, has issues with not knowing when to tell women, hey, if he has problems with identifying that a woman's hitting on him, then that could be one of the boundaries for you. Okay. So boundaries are not universal. So get that out of your head, especially your girlfriend that says, girl, if that was me, I wouldn't put up with that. First of all, we don't have time for none of the women to be, pumping in your ear. We don't have time for any of that energy. I just thought about something. I should have put in the Facebook group for them to join us here in the Zoom. I'm going to do that real quick, Sophia. I'm so sorry. I should have done this earlier, but I'm going to do that while I'm talking to you. Okay. So you want to make sure that you are in tune with yourself. What makes you feel safe? Okay. And there's a couple areas that you need to talk about, not just relationally, financially, what makes you feel safe? Spiritually, what makes you feel safe? So educationally, what makes you feel safe? You need to consider all these things when you are determining okay, I need to come up with what's going to work best for my relationship. But when it comes to maritally, um, the easiest way to find out what makes you feel safe, identify what is it their husband's doing that does not make you feel safe. Let's try that. Okay. That normally makes it easy for you to now, oh, okay, I'm not feeling this energy right here. I'm not, enjoying this. I don't like it when he's on the phone with women. I don't like it when I don't know where he is. This is also sometimes an issue that women have to deal with. I don't like it when um he's talking to his ex-girlfriend. You know, I don't feel comfortable when he's engaging too much, or he goes and hang out with his boys. It's all night long that he's hanging with them. What are those specific things? Like for me, funny, John, go with your friend. Go hang out. Where are your friends? Go do all the things. Not all the things, but because I like to have peace, and sometimes I don't like him being home all the time. But that's something else. So you want to make sure that you're actually identifying what is it in your life that makes you feel safe. And then next layer of that is, where does this stem from? Is it only from him that this stems from, or is it stemming from my childhood? Do you feel this way because of something that you've experienced in your childhood that has hurt you? It's very important that we have to be able to look at it and say, this is something that he's done, but this is something that my father's done. This is something that my ex has done. You have to know the difference in all of them. Okay. So write that down. I'm in the workbook on page 17. Hopefully you got your workbook out and you're writing these things down. Let's see. I'm trying to get this link, sweetheart, so that others can join too. So forgive me if I'm a little distracted while I'm talking. Okay. I'll put this in here. Okay, I'm done now. Woo, just want to make sure that was in there so everybody knew what we were doing. Okay, honey. So what specific behavior creates uncertainty in your marriage? Every marriage goes through different things. One thing that creates uncertainty in my marriage is when it comes to finances. I need to know where the money's going, how it's being, all the bills being paid, is everything being taken care of the way it's supposed to be taken care of. I need to be certain that everything is going where it's supposed to be. Also, especially with infidelity, you need to know, like, are there people in his life that make you feel that, something's kind of shady, something's going on, I'm not comfortable with this person for whatever reason, and be able to talk to them about that. Okay. How to implement pillow talk. So pillow talk is one of my favorite things in the entire world, because it creates um, consistent communication. Okay. So what does pillow talk consist of? It's a way for you to get with your boo and get him to the point where he is it starts with, hey babe, you did this amazing. Thank you so much for mowing the lawn. Oh my gosh, you did an amazing job. Ooh, I'm so glad I don't have to get out there and mow the lawn. You did such a good job. Like it looks beautiful out there. Thank you so much. It's just wonderful. It's just beautiful, and all the things are good. Okay. So it starts with appreciating them and saying what you appreciate them for. Okay. Next step is, babe, when you do X, Y, and Z, it makes me feel safe. You're wording your concern in a way to where you're saying the opposite. Meaning, if something that he does wrong, which is being out late at night and not calling you, what you're gonna say is, babe, when you go out with your friends, I love it so much when you call and you let me know that you're okay. You give me an idea of roughly, what time you're going to be home. I just appreciate you when you let me know what's going on. It's kind of some like Jedi mind trick that you're using, kind of like reverse psychology. He hasn't been doing that all the time, but then what you're doing is you're appreciating him and letting him know this is what makes me feel safe when you do this. Um, then you say, well, honey, I would love it if you can do that a little more. I would love if you can, when you do hang out, that you would call me and let me know, when you're going to be coming home. It's just amazing that when you do that for me. And then you follow it up with, how are we going to connect this week? Pillow talk should always end with a way for you and him to connect. You let him go first and you say, babe, or whatever you call him. I would love for us to connect this week. I want us to just, be intentional about our marriage and what we're doing for our marriage. What are some things that we can do, or what are some things that I can do or we can do that would make you feel connected with me? What can we do that's going to make you feel loved by me? And it could be anything, going to the movies, going to the bowling alley, going to, just going shopping, hanging out, watching the game, sitting in the backyard, whatever it is. So he gives his idea and then you give your idea. And then what you do is you plan to do those two things this week. The whole purpose in Pillow Talk is you're cupcaking the situation. Good, and the bad thing is in the center. So you're kind of making like a hamburger. The bread are two good things. It's like, ooh, exciting, we're growing, we're doing wonderful things. In the middle, it's, okay, this is room for improvement. This is what we need to work on, because you ain't doing this, but I need you to do this so that I can feel, good. I need to feel a certain way, okay? So that's Pillow Talk, okay? Now, let's jump back to those healthy boundaries. So within your Pillow Talk, you are discussing the boundary. The hamburger meat in that, I guess maybe I shouldn't call it Pillow Talk anymore. I should say we're going to make a hamburger. I like that. Okay, so in the midst of that, when you have your 3 pillars of healthy boundaries, we're on page 18 now. Pillow Talk, you're talking about one of the boundaries you need implemented. What are 3 pillars of healthy boundaries? 1, it must be realistic. You asking your husband to never, ever, ever speak to another woman again is unrealistic. Unless he's going to stay in the house with you all day, every day, and never be engaged with anybody else outside of the house. Like, and if you're rebuilding trust, at some point, he needs to be able to have communication or a conversation with another female without you being triggered. Okay. So 1, it must be realistic. 2, it must be measurable. It must, meaning when I say measurable, it must be something that, for example, if you say, honey, I'd like for you to call me. Can you call me once a day? Let me know how you're feeling. Can you call me when you're going to be late? That's what I mean by measurable. You can actually look at it and say, you know what? On Monday, he called me. On Tuesday, he called me. On Wednesday, he called me. Like, you can actually put numbers with it. Okay. And then 3, consistent. Your boundary must be something that's consistent. It's not something where you do it for a week and then week 2, you completely forget about it. It needs to be something that it keeps going on. And because men need consistency. Honestly, it's kind of like you're training them. It just is what it is. Okay. So you're training them to show up for you in a certain way. Okay. So it has to be consistent, and you have to hold each other accountable. Now, of course, that's not you saying what you're going to do and what you're not going to do, and you didn't do blah, 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 blah. It's just, babe, let's have a conversation. And part of this with boundaries, you need your tone. You need to have a tone in your marriage. And your tone can't be pop off queen. And I'm speaking because I was and can sometimes be a pop off queen, but I don't want you to continue. But that's not the way to go. You don't get the results that you want when you do that. Okay. Who is in my circle? When you're going through this journey, you have to have women in your circle. Okay. What does that mean? You have to have a mentor. It has to be someone older than you, someone who's been married. She's been married and seasoned, and she loved the Lord. She loved her husband, and she has to be honest. Okay. You need someone who's mature that you can call on Married, when you want to kick your husband out, when you want to file for a divorce, okay? When you tired of him and sick and tired, and it's like, look, I need somebody to pray for me. I don't feel like praying, but I need somebody to pray, okay? So you need a mature person who's going to pray you through, who's going to help you, who's going to be honest and transparent about marriage. Meaning they're gonna say, girl, I go because my mentor, I love my mentor. Like I just grabbed onto her. She my mentor, and that's it. You know, I love her to pieces. But you know, I'll call her and say, look, my husband did X, Y, and Z, and I just want to put him out. Can I just put all his stuff on the curb? Because I don't want to be bothered no more. And she'll laugh and she'll say, girl, you know, I was just going through the same thing with my husband, and she'll tell me her story and blah, blah, blah. One, it makes you know that you're not alone. It reminds you that we all in this together. You know, well, it's funny. We had our prayer team meeting this morning, and we were talking about Mother's Day and all the wonderful stuff. And she, another woman who I go to for prayer sometimes, we all sitting there talking. She said, you know, my husband, he'll be in the house with my daughter and ask me what's going on with her. And why don't you just go to her yourself? And I do, like, my husband will call me at work. He's home with the children because his hours are a little different. So during the day, he's normally home with them. He will call me at work to ask me what's going on with one of my daughters. You're home with them right now. Like, go talk to them. Like, and so it comforted. I thought it was just my husband that does that. I literally thought that's just mine. No, many of them do this. They'll be sitting in the house with the child and hey, babe, what's going on with our first child? What's going on with the second child? It's like, oh, y'all all out here doing this. So I say all that to say, you need a circle of women who are in the same boat as you, who are married, who love the Lord, who want to live for God, who believe in marriage, and who believe in being honest and transparent about marriage. You also need a wife who you could just go and hang out with. Someone you could just have a good time. I don't want to talk about marriage. I don't want to talk about my husband. I don't want to talk about none of the things. I just want to laugh and feel good. I just want to be happy. I want to relax. You need a friend for that. That's normally a separate person. Okay. And you also need a couple that you're now pouring into. And why do you need a couple that you're pouring into? Because this keeps you on your toes and it makes you intentional about perfecting who you are and your marriage. Because if you're mentoring someone else, you don't want to be shabby and raggedy and looking a hot mess. You actually want to represent God well. So that makes you intentional about, wow, when I stand before this couple here, I want to make sure I'm giving them good counsel. I want to make sure I'm ministering to them the way that honors God. Okay, so those are 3 different people that you need to have in your circle. The group that you're mentoring, be careful and mindful of what you're speaking into them or what you're saying to them. Don't share all the things. For example, someone that's been married a year is not going to understand what you're going through at year 20. You know, I love my newlyweds, I do, but they enter marriage with this beautiful, rosy aspect of life, saying, oh, everything's beautiful, everything's wonderful, everything. If y'all upset and mad at each other, you just don't know what you're doing. You ain't doing it right. And you know, but us people who've been in this are seasoned veterans of marriage. We say, oh, okay, honey, you just keep on living. Just keep on living. When I moved to Texas, they would say that to me. And I'm like, what do y'all mean just keep on living? Like, what's the alternative? Kill myself? Like what? And it wasn't until I realized, first of all, that's slang. Just keep on living. And it wasn't until I got older, and it's like, oh, I see what they're saying. Just keep on living. So suggested healthy boundaries for your marriage. You're going to write there what you believe are healthy boundaries for your marriage. That could be suggested. So number 1, no talking with exes. That's number 1. That's a healthy boundary. You shouldn't be on the phone socializing with your ex. If there are children involved, whenever y'all talk, it should only be about the child. And in one relationship, it's good if both wives, if the wife and the ex-girlfriend or ex-wife or whatever, they communicate about it too. So one, no talking to exes. Number two, I'm making notes over here as I'm talking to you. Another boundary. He needs to be open and honest about where he is. Like there should never be it's not about keeping tabs on him. If you're not doing anything wrong, there shouldn't be a problem. It is what it is. Okay. So open and honest about where he is. Three, if he did get caught in an affair, he has to break all ties with that person. All ties. And if he was foolish to mess with somebody at his job, baby might need to find another job. That's just, oh, my daughter just woke up who's been laying on the floor. Why do my children lay on the floor? I don't know. But she wrapped up in her blanket. Baby, just go ahead and go with your sisters, okay? Okay. Well, she had a nice little pallet down there. She looked very comfortable. She had blankets and she's wrapped up in Dora and whatnot, her Dora blanket, but it is what it is. Okay. So, life as a mom and wife is so beautiful. Another healthy boundary that you can create within your marriage, like I was saying, he might have to change his job. You know, that is just what it is. Another healthy boundary is who you allow each other to speak to about your marriage. Okay, because there's certain people where I look like my husband, no, you can't talk to them. You can't get no kind of advice from them. Like, I don't even want you to get advice about where to park your car. Like, I want them giving advice about how to clean your sneakers. No, they are not the one. So one of the boundaries is, who do we go to for counseling? Who do we go to for coaching? When stuff is wrong in our marriage, who are we both comfortable with speaking to? Okay. Another boundary in the marriage is how long we allow each other to not speak to each other. If we have conflict, if we have an argument, how long is acceptable for us to cool down? A cool down period, and defining a cool down period. Cool down period does not mean you going and talking to some other. I'm about to say heifer, because I like to call them heifers. How long? Like, who? You're not allowed to go speak to another female about what's going on. Like 100%, your husband should not be going to another woman for counseling or coaching. Oh, she understands and she's helping me to understand you. No, I help you understand me. That's it. Unless you go into a trained professional, and then that's okay. But other than that, no, we're gonna cut that off. So those are some examples of boundaries that you should be making. Okay. And then when you go to page 19, it talks about creating boundaries and how you're going to write down what makes you feel secure in your relationship. And then, spend some time in prayer, asking God, Lord, what do you believe we need? What boundary do you feel would protect our marriage and our relationship and me and our children? Okay. And then you schedule a time to sit down. And this process here, you're asking your circle to pray for you. I'm about to create these boundaries. And when you're creating boundaries, it's not just you coming to the table with a long list of stuff that you telling your husband he can and cannot do. Both parties are involved in the conversation. So he should be involved in, okay, this is a boundary that I think we need. This is a boundary that I believe I need. So it's both of you coming to the table with boundaries and you're compromising. Okay. It's not just do as I say do, and that's it. Okay, you're compromising about it. And then on this page, you're gonna write down healthy boundaries that makes me feel. So write down your own. Which boundaries make you feel safe? And then once there's two different pages. On 19, you're writing down what you want. And then on page 20, you're gonna write down what both of you come up with and say, okay, this is what we both agree on. Okay, remember this compromise, you might not get 100% of what you want. But that's the whole beauty in a marriage, compromise. Okay. So I hope this has blessed you. Feel free to reply to the email if you have any questions. The doors of Restored and Confident Society are open. So if you have been struggling with boundaries, if you've been struggling with infidelity, if you've been struggling with clarity and figuring out your next steps, if you're struggling with, is my husband a repeat offender, meaning he cheats numerous times. If you're struggling with creating the life that you feel safe in, or creating is not just about marriage. We talk about you being whole and you getting to a place where you feel whole. That's what we focus on in Restored and Confident Society. Yes, we deal with all the intricacies of building a relationship, because even if you leave your husband, you still need to have boundaries, and you still need to have heal from that relationship. So we deal with healing, we deal with mental health, we deal with self-care, we deal with conflict resolution, resolving conflict effectively. Those are the 4 pillars of Restored and Confident Life Society. And if you have questions, you should have received an email from me already about it. But I would love for you to join. Go ahead and click the link in that email. I'm going to send you another email with information about this. And the doors will close on Tuesday. Okay. So, and once the doors close, I just want you to know the price will go up. Right now, it's for those who were inside this live or inside this workshop, those enrolled within the workshop. There are extra bonus for you where you're saving money by joining now. Okay. So feel free to reply to this email. If you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and register. Anyone who registers, you do not have to go through the application process. All right. So I love you. Hope you have an amazing weekend. For those of you who are mothers, I want you to turn all the way up for Mother's Day. Okay, Mother's Day weekend. For those of you who have lost a mom or lost a child, please know that I'm praying for you. I'm praying for your healing. Those of you who are wanting to become mothers but are unable to right now, please know that I'm praying for your restoration of your emotions and that God does something special for you. All right. Have an amazing week, loves. Bye.